Hello, everyone. It's me, Allison. The show is about to start, but just real fast, a quick reminder. I want to tell you guys, if you are doing some shopping, perhaps some Black Friday shopping, holiday shopping, etc.,
like Christmas type shopping,
any sort of shopping at all, I have put together some lists on Amazon.
Lists with things
stuff
on them?
Daniel, just pipe down for 1 second. Beauty stuff, makeup stuff, home stuff, kids stuff, podcast equipment, books I recommend, all of this stuff. And
Daniel's stuff?
Oh yeah, Daniel's Corner, where I put stuff that I know that he likes. But Daniel has recently gotten way more involved, and he put together a special Christmas spectacular gift guide for you.
You guys will not even believe it. I mean, I'm not going to tell you what's on there, but it's literally some things.
Lots of things. And a whole big caption explaining his process. If you know
someone who's exactly like me, they are going to love it.
And here's where you go to see all of this. Amazon.com/shop/Allison Rosen. Amazon.com/shop/Allison Rosen.
And we'll be adding to it.
It's nonstop, you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the show.
Bye.
You guys, I lied. I said the show was starting right now, but I have one more quick announcement. I'm co-hosting a new podcast. It's brand new. It's called Upworthy Weekly. I'm co-hosting it with a guy named Todd Perry, who I'm having so much fun with, although he is wrong about so many things, especially Christmas music, but also other stuff. But anyway, Upworthy Weekly, we come out on Saturdays. Please give it a listen. Subscribe. If you like what you're hearing, leave us a comment, a review on Apple Podcasts. That helps out the show so much, especially because we are brand new. As I've said, between 1 and 4 times right now, I've lost track. But anyway, please give it a listen. It's a lighthearted news podcast. We're taking a look at the most popular and engaging stories from the week before that ran on Upworthy. And it's just what your holidays need. And then when we're past the holidays, it's just what that part of the year needs. It's just exactly what you need. Please listen to it. Upworthy Weekly, new episodes every Saturday, wherever you get your podcasts.
And now, live from Pod Cabin in Burbank, California, it's the Allison Rosen is Your New Best Friend show. Tonight, Allison welcomes a guest. She's a producer and writer and will soon be starring in the Universal Studios Waterworld stunt show as a wisecracking buoy. It's Robin Shorr. And he's a writer and comedian who has finally recovered from his recent move, but thinks he might continue to puke a lot and aggressively pee all over the place. It's Jordan Morris. Chef Jeff is here to deny allegations that it was his passionate lovemaking that killed Betty White. I'm her husband Daniel, saying hop on board the love bus and say hello to your new best friend, Allison Rosen.
Hello, my little Wawa hoagies. Welcome to another exciting episode of Allison Rosen is Your New Best Friend. The first episode that we've recorded, not the first episode of the show in 2022, but the first one recorded in 2022. That particular regional carbohydrate was sent in on Patreon. By Lauren Kelly. And I suspect it was selected because of a special person joining us today. But yes, I am on Patreon, patreon.com/Allison Rosen. You can get bonus episodes of The Friend Zone. That's my Patreon podcast. You can watch videos of the Thursday show. So, for example, right now, I know what kind of shirts my guests are wearing, and you don't. But if you are watching, you would see. You would also see whether that was the first take of the intro or the second take of the intro. You would also see some very bodacious and exhilarating dancing that made my heart sing. There's also a level where you can text me and I'll text you back. Zoom parties. You can submit carbohydrates. So much stuff. And if you sign up for a year, you get 2 months free. So 12 months for the price of 10. You really can't afford not to unless you don't want to. And then, you do you. I would like to say hello to my guest, Robin Shorr. Hello. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be back.
I loved your dancing. That was some wonderful dancing because, as the person whose name is in the title of the show, when I just see someone not dancing, I think, oh no, are they not into it? But when I see like a flash dance Footloose melange, I get excited.
I mean, we're starting a show. We want to dance. I want to rejoice, and it's a great song. It's so upbeat.
I love you. Okay, Jordan Morris, hello.
Hi. I feel bad that I kind of half-assed my dancing.
It's totally okay, honestly, because I was so riveted by Robin's dancing that I wasn't like, if you had said right now, I'm sorry, I didn't dance at all, or if you were like, yeah, I'm in a full body sweat from my dancing, I would have believed you.
Okay, let's I'm going to say
two?
retroactively what I was doing was I was giving all of my shine to Robin.
Oh, I felt it.
I was doing that intentionally. I didn't want to steal focus. I wanted to support her with, lesser dancing so that she looked better by comparison.
There are no small dancers, Jordan. Or small
Only
dance
small
moves.
dances.
Yeah,
true.
that is what a team player you are.
Thank you.
What a
yes,
confident
let's
performer.
lean into that. That is definitely what happened. That was my intent. It was all on purpose. Let's just go with that. I'm a great and giving podcast partner.
That's you.
You are.
Daniel Quantz, hello.
Hi. I know it looked like I wasn't doing much dancing, but I was doing Robin's dance backward and in heels.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So
Who is
fast,
it?
little props to this guy.
And Jeff Fox filling in for Tony, who is on tour right now. Hello, welcome back.
Hi, Allison. It's good to be here. And in my defense, since I'm being non-dance shamed, in my defense, I was doing stuff. I'm terrible at dancing. I may be Amish when convenient to get me out of dancing because reason number 4, I hate dancing.
Wait, do the
But I
Amish
like
not
your song.
dance?
Yeah, are they non-dancers?
Yeah,
I mean,
they're not allowed
it
to
would
dance.
make sense. I believe it when you say it, but I haven't. I guess I don't know that explicitly, but it sounds right.
I think
does.
they're not allowed to dance.
Isn't
I
there-
shouldn't make that joke.
Isn't
They're not listening.
That's true.
Or
Wait.
are they?
why is that? Wait, why is that a joke?
Somewhat. I think
That
what
they're not
happens is
listening?
that someone, if
Oh.
an Amish person wants to subscribe to a podcast, they get a non-Amish person to whittle it for them on a piece of wood. So they will get this podcast, but it'll be in 2 or 3 years. So
I see.
Right.
I thought the joke you were making is, and this is definitely worth for me. It's worth it for me to go back and do another lap on how I misunderstood the joke. I thought the joke was they can't dance, and I was like, why is that about? I get it now. Anyway, or that they're not allowed to dance. But isn't Rumspringa? Isn't that when Amish people like take 9 to 15 months to go wild and
that's-
dance and fuck and stuff?
Yes,
that's
but
like
it comes at a
non-Amish
huge
stuff.
Yeah, it comes at a huge cost, which is at the end of it you have to decide whether you're going to stay in the real world or go back to no dancing and
wow.
butter churning. It's a very high stakes decision, and then these kids who decide not to go back don't know how to function in the world. I mean, that's not fair. I'm sure they know how to function, but the world is different than the world they
tough.
grew up in.
Now, did you watch a documentary? Did you have friends who were Amish? Where's this info coming from?
There's a documentary I think called Rumspringa that I watched I think in 2003 or 2004, and I think also
I
MTV
love trying to remember a documentary you saw 10 or 15
know.
years ago.
And also I think MTV at the time did a whole series on behind
They did. There was
music
some sort of
Rumspringa.
reality show.
Yeah,
And I know
Maybe
that is
that's
such a
when-
particular feeling when someone brings up a subject that you've seen a documentary on. your instinct is to always go, I've seen a documentary about that. I've seen a documentary about that. Like I absolutely do it. It's exciting.
Yes,
and
I
then
do it too much.
But then the problem is then people want information. They
Right.
want you to recount the documentary, and oftentimes I barely fucking remember that thing.
Right. Same. I do that too much, Jordan. I jump in with not a one headline of knowledge and I know nothing else.
It's just I don't know, it ticks something in your brain. It's just exciting.
Yes.
I hear you. I'm with you.
Yes.
Thank
My
you.
dad had, he's still alive, but I'm putting this in the past tense because he does not, he was a fish hobbyist enthusiast. We had tanks of tropical fish around the house. And from being around him, I felt that I had soaked up a lot of tropical fish knowledge. And then when I lived in New York, I dated this guy whose roommate, he lived in Williamsburg, and his roommate had a fish tank. And like the itch to tell someone you know about something via documentary, I was like, I know. I don't know if I yelled it, but I was like, I know about fish. Or, I don't know. I grew up around fish.
Right. Because
And
that has the potential to be the most awkward relationship, is the like person you're dating's roommate. Like
Yes.
you
Person
just
bump
you just
into in the night.
you're just groping
Daniel.
for something to like connect with that person about, because you'll be like in the living room with them while the person is getting ready, or maybe you're like, you all go to a bar or something, or like the roommate's at home alone, so they're like, hey, come with us. And then I agree, like you just have to you have to connect with that roommate.
Right. So then, now I don't know what I was expecting would be the way we would bond over my knowledge of fish, but somehow it turned into like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire championship level fish quiz. And I realized quickly, I actually know very little about fish. I
Right.
just know the names of a lot of fish. That's it.
Like Steve.
My
Well,
knowledge was
you-
shallow.
When you said that your father knows a lot about fish, for better or worse, my brain went to the band. And I was like,
Oh,
Allison's dad, he likes to party. He's a fish head.
Oh my God. Imagine if that were the case.
My dad has bootlegs of New Year's Eve at Madison Square Garden.
They played the whole Thriller album.
Did they really?
They did. They have. I went to a fish show this year with a friend, and it was an experience that
Wow.
I won't repeat, but I guess it's just stayed with me. And that's why I thought your dad was really into the band.
No.
Is your friend like a long time? Is your friend like into it?
Like tours with them. Yes.
Wow.
Very into it. All of her friends, all of her family, all of her
wow.
lovers have come from that pool of fish people.
But you're kind of a fish head, right?
I'm more of a deadhead, like a lifelong deadhead, but I can accept fish into my life, but not with the ardor that my friend has.
Right. Now, when you say it's an experience you'll never repeat, I wasn't sure if you meant, or, you said it's an experience you're not going to repeat. I didn't know if you meant you're not going to tell us about it or you're not going to ever do it again.
Probably both. But I'll just say it was at the Forum. It was in that in September, I think. And they said they were checking vaccine cards and they weren't, and no one was wearing a mask.
Oh, God.
No one. And we did, but it was still a little like, what are we doing, guys? What are we doing? And then with all due respect to fish, they played so long, so many notes for so
That's their whole
long.
thing.
That's their thing. Yeah.
I know.
You
but
gotta
at
love
one point,
noodling.
I just wanted to be like, guys, we know you can play your instruments really well. You did it. You did it an hour and a half ago. Let's go. But I maybe am not the best person to take to a fish concert.
But do you not feel that way about the Grateful Dead? Because they also noodle and play for a long time.
They do. That's when you go to the bathroom and get your snacks, is during drums in space. Yeah, you don't. You have to have a plan.
I really distinctly remember the feeling of, well, I'm old now, when I went to a concert and left thinking, that was a good length.
What concert was it?
It was Courtney Barnett. It was Courtney Barnett at the Greek, who I love. But it wrapped up around 10:45, and we all got
That's
to our
a
cars
great
by
length.
11.
Perfect.
Jordan, I don't want to call you out, but are you a little bit congested?
I am a little bit congested.
Are you okay?
I think
Before you joined, we had riveting pre-show conversation about how my whole family has been super sick.
Yeah.
I feel like in a pandemic, saying super sick is like the scale is thrown off, but pretty sick, but not COVID, despite all of the tests we took thinking this has to be COVID. Everyone's fine now, though. But like we were down and out for like 2.5 weeks, I'd say.
I lost hearing in my left ear.
I'm so sorry.
My eardrum ruptured.
That is so
How did that
hard.
happen?
It was just pressure, and then then there was like a liquid coming out, and I couldn't hear.
Oh.
And now he still can't hear out
I
of
still
it.
can't hear.
Liquid. That's like what's one of the worst places for a liquid to be coming out of?
I know, like a douche.
You don't want liquid. It's the strangest feeling.
It is so weird.
It's basically it's ear or butt. That's where you don't want it.
Yes, you don't want.
I'd
Allison,
say, yes.
didn't Penn Jillette have something like that? once?
Oh, yes.
Oh God. Okay, I'll tell that story in a second, but just because it's going to drive you nuts. But Jordan, what did you have?
Oh, so that's funny. So I was a little late to this record because I was doing one of those home COVID swabs where the person on this is website sick.org that delivers the test to your house, and then a doctor on Zoom tells you to swab your throat.
Oh,
and
it sounds totally legit.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to be accurate.
I know, right? Yeah.
Well,
anyway, so I'm just making sure. I'm a little stuffy, so we'll see.
So wait, you don't have your results yet?
No, I before I got on Zoom, I took a picture of the bag and put it on my doorstep for like a guy to come get.
Did you swab your throat?
Okay, so it's
I
a
did swab my
PCR.
throat. Okay. It is a PCR, I think.
It's a PCR.
Yeah.
Got
okay,
it.
then that's good.
Yes, it's like instead of going and going to where was it? Dodger Stadium and waiting in the line. Right. Okay. So yes.
So you like wait in this virtual line, and I was supposed to get the test at 7 a.m. The test came at 3 p.m. and then I got in the virtual line, and it said there are 85 people in front of you, and then the number started going up.
How did that happen?
Like, who's getting in front of me? So right before we had to start, the doctor came on the virtual thing, and we did my swab. Anyway.
Did he look like the kind of doctor that, like, 4 or 5 years ago, if you lived in LA, you had to go see a doctor to get a weed card? Like, did he seem like that vibe of doctor?
Well, Robin, I'll tell you this much. It wasn't a he. Doctors can be women.
What? You know what?
It was a strong, independent woman. No, I could hear her kids in the background. Her kids were like yelling while she was telling me how to swab my throat. Anyway.
So wait, so she went on Zoom and then swabbed your throat. Jordan, was she putting the cotton swab on the lens? Like, how does that work?
No, a drone flies into your house.
Oh.
She's piloting the drone.
I went with
It's all
someone,
very sophisticated. Sponsored by the Sharper Image.
I went with someone to get their weed card in the time that you're talking about, Robin.
Yeah.
And the doctor wasn't wearing shoes. It's like, you are staring.
Yes.
And then his wife, who also worked in the clinic, walked in, and I was like, she has got to have been a stripper. And also, she wasn't wearing shoes.
Allison,
Yeah.
that wasn't his wife. That was his old lady.
Yes.
Ooh, that answers a question. Okay, so years ago, the first guy I ever dated, Daniel, I'm sorry, so many stories. Just know, I really didn't date that much.
It's like Jordan's cue. It's like getting longer, the story.
And then I still got
Sorry, Daniel, there's 85 people in front of you.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. Okay. So there was this guy, Peter, that I dated when I was 16, and he had a friend, Johnny. And then sometime later, and by the way, I met Peter at Rock and Java Coffee House in Costa Mesa, where I used to hang out. So then I ran into Johnny sometime later, and I think the topic of like whatever happened to Peter came up, and he's like, oh yeah, he's living up north with his old lady. And I have always wondered, was that his girlfriend or his mom? So Jordan,
I've
you're
always
saying
wondered.
Is old lady a dealer? Like, who uses that more, dealers or bikers?
To me, it is like what a hippie calls their like common law wife.
Yes.
Okay.
Like
Yes.
they're not married. They don't need a piece of paper.
Right.
So they don't need City Hall to tell them they're in love. Like it's that.
Yeah. Chris Christopherson had a lot of old ladies.
A lot of
That
old
guy.
ladies. Yeah.
But isn't the old lady ever your mom, or is that a different phrase?
Well, it's like,
My old
what's
lady.
old man? Like, if I said, like, I gotta hang out tonight with my old man.
That's
what
dad.
would you
No,
think?
that's definitely
That's
dad.
definitely dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't think
Got
it goes both ways. I think it's different. I don't think you would say old lady about mom.
No, I don't think so.
Huh.
All right. Well, I guess
So
he
that
moved
guy was
on then.
Yeah, he was with his girlfriend.
His common
Common
law
law.
lady up north. Okay. So anyway, on the Adam Carolla
Humboldt.
show,
All old ladies are from Humboldt.
yes,
Yes.
I was just thinking like up north where probably
Humboldt has the
Humboldt.
largest old lady per capita.
And you know what I was thinking in that moment? I was thinking that Common Law would be a show we could all sell to ABC right now.
what would it be? But yes,
I don't know, just a lot of people who love the law and have that in common. I don't know.
Right.
Oh.
And they live together, but they're not married.
it could be
Common law.
It could follow one L. So people in like their first year of law school who all see what happens when they stop being polite and start being real, and also
I
talk
feel
about
like
the
common law. No, common law would be like hippie lawyers, older, like
Right.
middle-aged hippie lawyers who've lived
Right.
together and are not married.
Yeah.
And
Or
they
rapper
do-
turned actor Common decides
Yes.
that he's going to start a...
A law
They do
firm.
defense
There it
work.
is. Common
They do-
Law tonight on CBS.
That's right.
Yes.
I moved it to CBS.
Yeah. What happened? Was ABC? Did they have something?
ABC wanted it to
similar in
be
the works?
mid-season, and we've got. You don't put Common on mid-season.
Yeah.
You put. That's why we had to skip over to CBS. It'll go great with the Equalizer.
So, Penn Jillette, this was skinny Penn Jillette. He was a guest on the Adam Carolla show. And I was looking at him while we were doing the show, and I noticed blood dripping down out of his ear, down the side of his face.
Oh my gosh.
He was wearing headphones that we all shared, but it really wasn't motivated by that. It was motivated by, like, if I was just dripping blood, I would want someone to tell me. Unless it was from my crotch region, and then I just want them to give me like a sweater to wrap around my waist or something. But anyway, so during a break, I said to him, I think your ear is bleeding. And then and this was amazing to witness, he said, yes, does that bother you? And I was like, oh my God. He turned it around so that somehow I'm the jerk.
Why are you so uptight?
Yeah, somehow I'm the one who is doing something socially inappropriate.
But I love that he assumed you were bothered instead of like you were concerned.
Right.
Yeah.
And then what did you say? Like, how did you respond to that?
I said no. I think I was like taken aback, and I'm like, no, I'm cool. I mean, I wanted to communicate that I'm cool, but I think I was like, oh no, okay, never mind. But anyway,
He goes to the trauma center with you, and he's like, she's cool.
So
She's not going to be weird about any of this.
Yeah.
see, my belief, and I had that guy Justin Willman on my show who does Magic for Humans on Netflix. He's like a young hip magician, and I was trying to like talk to him about this, and he didn't seem to like he didn't meet me halfway on this one. But my feeling is that magicians have to have like amazing crowd control, and they have to stay in power all the time.
Right.
Or else, who knows, someone could pull something they're not supposed to pull, or looks,
Hashtag
it's all
not
about-
all magicians.
that was I feel like Justin Willman's thing was like not all magicians, but I think all magicians, and I'm gonna drop an old timey name, but my dad was like best friends with Harry Blackstone and Harry Blackstone Jr. Excuse me. So in fact, Jordan, you know Harry Blackstone's daughter Bellamy because she worked on At Midnight. Yes.
Bellamy Blackstone and I worked
Yes.
together. I think she was the production coordinator on At Midnight.
Yes.
And just casually dropped that her father was a famous magician, and I'm like, well, if you have the last name Blackstone, like,
Right.
is she disappointing the
one
family
guy.
that she did not go into the family business?
I think
Like, you have this great last name.
yeah. I think that they did want her to go into magic. Because her mom is like involved in magic and stuff too.
Wow.
But
It'd be
so
like if your last name was Longfellow, you'd be like, I'm getting into plumbing.
Right. And not
I'm going to
porn.
empty septic tanks. There's a lot more money in that than you think. Oh, by the way, a short aside was
yes.
I was there when the Penn Jillette thing happened, and I had to go in and turn around the studio because I think we were recording Larry Miller right afterwards, and I had to clean up that blood off the headphones. And I, to this day, carry alcohol swabs in my audio kit because of that.
Smart.
But
that's
right. I mean, I'll
wildly-
never need them, but just I was so aghast at
Yeah.
having to clean up blood from headphones that I just I never want to be I never want to be caught unawares in this situation again. But he was very nonplussed by it.
It was just very magician-y. I think, again, hashtag not all magicians, that he's like, I will maintain the upper hand here even though I'm wounded. What
He
were you gonna say,
seemed
Daniel?
to have an attitude like it happens all the time or
Yes.
like a common thing.
I think it's that
Right.
sleight of hand thing of like in a minute, in less than a second, he had to decide how to turn it around and make you unsettled instead of him owning it in any way.
Right.
So he magicked you in a
He does. And I really wasn't trying to get one over on him. I was just trying to point out that his ear was bleeding and is he okay?
I feel like it's a bit sociopathic to leave blood on something and assume that no one's going to care.
Right. He was committed to it. That's the magician's commitment.
I guess that's a good way. Like if you need to like hide something in your sleeve, you have to make them look somewhere else. So if you can make your ear spontaneously bleed, no one will be looking at your sleeve.
Right. All of a sudden you look down and your watch is gone.
Whoa.
Right.
Or maybe some other part of his body was bleeding profusely and we didn't even know because we were looking at his ear.
He was pissing his
Right.
pants.
Yeah.
And
Daniel, is that what you were doing when your ear started to leak?
Yes.
Were you stealing Allison's wallet?
That's right. That's
But
right.
I also think that he was probably maybe there's a timeline or a version where he was freaking out that his ear was bleeding. And in a moment
Right.
of deflection was like, does that bother you? Because he
Right.
would not want to own the fact that something weird was happening.
I know that in Scientology they teach them to turn things around by saying, what are you afraid of? Why are you so
Right.
afraid?
That's kind of what he did.
So yeah, it's like make it about your fear. It's always fear based. So whenever they're
is he
challenged,
a Scientologist?
What's that?
I don't think
Is
so.
he a Scientologist? Seen
No,
the game?
but I feel like magic is Scientology adjacent.
Sure.
You know.
Okay, I need to ask you guys a question about 7th grade girl fake languages. But first,
Do it.
I need to ask Robin because I've been, I'm all about your social media. Were you in a Hallmark movie years ago?
I was, and I was, okay, let me just say something. If you're Jewish and you're not a Jew who celebrates Christmas, like a lot of Jews, and no disrespect there, it's a really quiet, boring time. And my niece and nephew didn't believe, like, they wanted to see a commercial I was in. I was like, it's probably not. So I found a commercial that I was in 2003, the same time that I saw the Rumspringa documentary. And then I was like, I wonder if that weird movie of the week or Hallmark movie I did with Steve Gutenberg is online. And it was. And it is shocking to see. It is. I guess I haven't been around enough to know that everything is on the internet. I don't know if the phrase I haven't been around enough. I'm just not savvy enough to know that everything you've ever done is on the internet. But I did do a movie of the week with Steve Gutenberg.
Fantastic.
How was it? What was it called?
It was called Single Santa Seeks Mrs. Claus. And
That's awesome.
And I played I always, in my acting career, was almost always behind a desk or a counter or dressed as an office lady. And in this particular role, I was playing, her name was Mary, Merry. And she was a real grouch until Single Santa comes along, and you can hear in the music, which I didn't know, like he winks at me and makes and like you feel like the magical sand of Christmas come upon me, and all of a sudden I'm so entranced by him. And I thought I had a few more scenes, but I couldn't find them, so maybe they got cut. But it was crazy.
So
like,
were you?
was Steve Gutenberg playing like a hot young Santa?
I think he was playing an undercover Santa. He was playing a Santa in the body of Steve Gutenberg, who was going around in the
Okay.
world as
Like, so
Steve
Santa
Gutenberg.
can possess people?
I guess
That's a
so.
Santa power I was not aware of.
And I think he was desperately looking for a Mrs. Claus, and she appeared in the form of your favorite star from Wings and It's a Living, Crystal Bernard.
Wow.
She's
But wait,
fun.
what happened to the old Mrs. Claus?
Oh yeah. Good question.
Such a good
Yeah.
question. I don't know. She died before production started. I don't know.
Oh my god!
But it was like, I had like short brown hair, and I forgot that all that stuff was online. I was listening to a podcast where somebody recovered a commercial from like 1950. And I was like, well, if they can find that commercial, I can probably find my Golden Corral commercial. And it just kind of opened Pandora's box.
What did you say in your Golden Corral commercial?
Oh, I actually put it in my Instagram feed because it's so horrible, but it's like a bunch of office workers going like, I feel like having soup for lunch. And I just keep going, I want a salad. Like, I just keep screaming the word like salad.
I remember this commercial.
I mean, every office has that lady, right? Everybody's office has lady who screams salad like a monster.
And then there's like a shot of us walking off in the parking lot to go to Golden Corral, and you can hear me going, salad, salad, salad. Like, I just... And then they like promptly cut the sound out, because God, who would want to hear me say that over and over again? But check out my Instagram feed.
By the third time you said it, I was not only into it, but I'm like, maybe I want a salad for dinner.
Yeah. It's working.
Is there some sort of corral that I could go to? Maybe I could get a little chocolate fountain afterwards.
It just, the whole thing just sprung out of total boredom, but it was fun to be like, oh, I actually like did do stuff as an actor. I don't give myself enough credit.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. So were you pursuing an acting career in earnest? Like, is that what you wanted to do?
I had gone to school for theater and for performing, but had been, indoctrinated into writers' rooms by my best friend from in junior high and high school. His father was the showrunner of Full House. And not Fuller House, guys, the Full House.
The original. Yeah.
And so all through high school,
Fuller House is not canon in my mind.
That's true. It depends on which, where you're coming from, but the father, the showrunner, had wanted his son and me to be writing partners. And to make a long story short, I went to college. I decided I wanted to be an actor. I ditched my friend Dan for a few years and then just tried to book stuff. And then in the middle of all of that, I started putting my writing samples together because I knew it was sort of a weird inevitability that I would sort of go back to being on stages and working on sitcoms and stuff.
I got into it in the comments of a Candace Cameron Bure post regarding.
Yes, you did. I remember that, and good for
Yeah.
you. Do you remember?
You.
I knew her a little bit in high school because of this Full House connection, and I was just like, I can't stand her now. What is she doing?
Yeah,
Sorry,
had Jodie
Candace.
Sweetin.
Sorry, Candy.
I
Is
don't.
that what she goes by?
Yeah, this is all new to me. We were a big TGIF family growing up, but I have not like kept track of the stars of TGIF. What was Candace Cameron doing online?
She was saying she was like, look, I'm not anti-vax. I just think sunlight, vitamins, and health should be emphasized or something. It was like one of those, like, I'm not anti-vax, but I am.
Right.
And I don't remember what I said, but somehow I got into this like back and forth with this girl named, and I'm not going to say her name, but she's into rave culture, and she's like,
say no more.
Posts pictures of herself at like different, Burning Man-esque type rave situations. Like, can't wait to go back. And I mean, I just like, I spent like a week. You know what it was? I think maybe the Friday before this happened on a show, I was like, I really need to get my phone addiction in check. And then I just went on like a crazy binge. Like, I didn't even see my family or use the bathroom for 3 days. I was just like texting. Do you remember this, Daniel?
Oh, yeah.
So wait, was the principle like when Donald makes his nephews smoke the entire box of cigars, where you just like, I need to get off my phone, so I'm going to be on my phone until I fucking hate it?
No, it wasn't. No, it was more like, I'm going to give myself a last hurrah. It was like the diet starts Monday, so I'm going to town on this ice cream right now or something like that. I mean, it was very like ridiculous and out of control. And I mean, like, my thumbs were like very taut, and I was just like so angry at my phone. But anyway, So to fill you in, Jordan, you know, Candace Cameron's brothers, Kirk Cameron, they're very religious, like very religious.
Oh, I
and
didn't put that
conservative.
together that they're related. That's crazy. Okay.
Are you serious?
No, I didn't know that.
Oh,
I
yeah.
do know about Kirk Cameron's weird turn to
Yes.
Christian-only entertainment.
Wait, this
but-
is breaking news for Jordan. I mean, this is huge. We all learned this in 1987, and I love that you're just crawling out of this hole now. This is incredible.
Jeff, do you have any sort of breaking news thing?
It's the news with Allison. Allison Rosen is your new best friend. Breaking news.
Okay, I loved the dancing, everyone, except for Daniel and Jeff, but I
was
understand
working.
you're Amish. Yeah, Jordan, Candace
Wow.
Cameron is one of
Wow.
the Cameron part of the acting dynasty, and I didn't know this, but Robin just told us their mother was an agent. I knew
Yes.
that Christian Slater's mother was a casting director, but I
Yes.
didn't know that Barbara Cameron was an agent.
Barbara
go
Barbara
ahead.
Cameron was an agent, and her husband was James Cameron, the TV
Wait.
director, the movie. No, I'm kidding. But
Is
like,
Jaleel
what else
White
can-
related to Betty White?
What else can we tell
R.I.P.
Jordan
Jaleel
that'll be
White.
breaking news? Is like what I want to
know.
find out. I'm sorry, Barbara Cameron. She was a great agent. I don't remember. I was in high school when she signed me, and I did one pilot when I was in high school that I hope we can't find on the internet.
I mean, now I want to, but yeah. So I had Jodie
Was
Sweetin.
was that pilot also about fucking Santa?
I want to say this, and I know we should get to Jodie Sweetin, but somebody asked me when I put the thing of Single Santa Seeks Mrs. Claus on my Instagram story, like, what was Steve Gutenberg like? And I hadn't thought about it in so long. But the answer is that he was so nice until it got weird. Like something weird happened at the very end that I can't remember what it was, but it was like, oh my God, I'm friends with Steve Gutenberg. And now it's weird. Like something happened. I can't remember. Nothing like bad. I think him being like, what are you doing after this? But I don't know. Sure. I can't totally remember. It's not fair.
Wait, it got weird. Like it was like there were too many sparks between this hotel worker and Single Santa. Is that what you mean?
Yes. He had worked his magic on me. I mean, I had to believe that he was Santa Claus. And as a Jew, it's the forbidden fruit. I had to.
Oh, yeah.
I loved him in Short Circuit. He was in Short Circuit,
Well,
right?
Gutenberg
Yes.
was huge. What happened to that guy's career?
Well, we were talking about how my boyfriend and I were arguing. He was saying in 3 Men and a Baby that Steve Gutenberg was the big star
Yeah.
of that movie. And my argument, I think, was that I thought Tom Selleck was the one that was the big movie star. I don't know. Certainly.
Selleck was pretty big, but Gutenberg was pretty big too.
Who was? Ted Danson. He was
Ted
big
Danson.
too.
He was huge, but I think like Selleck was the one they were trying to make a movie star. But then I guess Gutenberg was kind of the most bona fide movie star there was.
Yeah, he did 12 Police Academy movies, each more successful than the last.
It is weird. What has he been doing lately? So I used to go on this show, Red Eye, when I lived in New York, and there was a woman named Anna, and I can't remember her last name, but I think she was a Fox News reporter or like a FoxNews.com reporter, but she was dating Steve Gutenberg. I don't know if they're still together. But that's the last I
I'm gonna
heard
guess
of him.
they're not. I'm going to guess they're not. How long ago did you live in New York?
I moved back here in 2010, so this was like
Yeah.
2009 or something.
Yeah.
You think that
I mean-
is he not a serial monogamist?
I don't think he's a marriage. I don't know if he's a monogamous guy.
Yeah, you
I bet
can't
he's
tie
not.
down Gutenberg.
No,
She's his old lady.
Yeah,
He is on Cameo, by the way. He is on Cameo. I've looked it up.
Oh, really? Well, it seems like someone still has feelings for old Steve Gutenberg.
Listen, once you get Goot, you don't go back.
Sure.
What?
You know what else? Once you try imperfect foods, you won't go back. That's right. The Queen of Segways has joined the chat. How about a 3-for-1 New Year's resolution? Reduce food waste, save time on grocery shopping, and eat more fresh and delicious food. Think it's too good to be true? Think again, you guys. Try Imperfect Foods. Imperfect Foods is a grocery delivery service offering an entire line of sustainable groceries that taste delicious and reduced waste reduce waste just by embracing the natural imperfections in food. I imagine you've seen the pictures where it's like an orange that looks delicious, but it's got some character to it. It's produce that has character to it. And maybe it's not perfectly symmetrical, etc. Visit imperfectfoods.com to see if they deliver in your area. Once you sign up, you can personalize your weekly grocery order with fresh seasonal produce, pantry staples, and yummy snacks. Plus, your order will arrive on the same day each week. I just signed up today, placed my first order. It's going to arrive on Monday. That's where it arrives for me locally. And I feel like Monday's a good day. But you know, whatever day it is for you is going to be perfect too. And on average, Imperfect Foods customers save 6 to 8 pounds of food with every order. And unlike on-demand delivery companies, Imperfect delivers weekly by neighborhood, a unique model that produces fewer emissions, etc. Say goodbye to packaging guilt. Right now, Imperfect Foods is offering our listeners 20% off your first 4 orders when you go to imperfectfoods.com and use promo code Allison. Again, 20% off your first 4 orders. That's up to an $80 value at imperfectfoods.com when you use promo code Allison. Join the movement at imperfectfoods.com and use the promo code Allison. I also want to tell you guys about this really cool program that can teach your kids how to code, and they also have math classes and they have music classes. It's called Byju's Future School. The guy who started it, his name is Byju. That's BYJU. Even in the best schools, your child probably isn't getting the one-to-one teaching they need to reach their full potential. In a classroom with dozens of kids, teachers just don't have time to customize their approach. But at Byju's Future School, students receive personalized attention and a world-class learning experience completely online to supplement their in-person school education. Byju's Future School currently offers coding and music courses for grades 1 through 12 and math courses for grades 1 through 8. Keep an eye out for even more subjects launching before you know it. Join the millions of parents accelerating their kids' learning today. Your child can build their own Minecraft character in the first 4 weeks. Visit byju's.com/podcast to enroll in your first 4 classes, a $99 value for just $9.99. That's 4 classes for just $9.99 at byjus.com/podcast. Okay.
I'm going to see if I can do something fancy here. Hang on one second.
Let's go to that little pizza place.
Oh my
I want
God.
a roast beef sandwich.
I need something fast.
No, I don't have a lot of money.
What about a burger?
I want a salad.
No.
A taco salad.
No.
Burger.
Salad.
No. Burger. Good to see we're all in agreement. Power lunch at Golden Corral?
Everyone can agree on the new Power Lunch at Golden Corral. Handmade
Wow.
personal-sized pizzas, grilled steak burgers, hot roast beef sandwiches, taco salad, and more, all fast and at a great low price.
I'll drive.
It's your first time. I'll drive. Well, you're always...
I'll drive. Salad. Salad. I do have an update. I do have an update for you guys. Emily Smith is now married to Steve Gutenberg. They got married in 2019. It looks like she is a reporter. So
No,
it's
Anna was her name, the one I knew. Anna G something.
Okay, so maybe he had a thing for reporters. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention a thing everybody in the world should go to YouTube and put in Can't Stop the Music, Steve Gutenberg, and you will see the opening of a movie from 1980 where he is roller skating through the streets of Manhattan, Times Square.
Nice.
Yeah.
Can't Stop the Music.
Robin, when you go on podcasts and like get interviewed and stuff, do people ask like, can we talk to Salad Woman? Is Salad Woman, is she there? Can we talk to her?
Oh my God. Remember that James Lipton used to do that?
Yeah.
Inside the actor studio. Like, and then he had like the cast of The Simpsons and he's like, can I speak to Bart, please? Is Bart home? Like, and he definitely did it to the Will and Grace cast.
Right.
And it's always so weird. When
That guy was so funny. Do you remember how it came out that he had been like a pimp in Paris for years?
What?
Yes. In his
What?
youth. In his
Are you
youth, he
serious?
lived in
Crazier
Paris.
than Candace Cameron and Kirk Cameron being related.
No, James Lipton was he was a wild dude. He lived in Paris and he would pimp prostitutes.
Oh my God.
honestly,
Yeah.
though, he probably pimped them very gently. He'd be like, what do you want them to say when you walk into the door?
It's the most dramatic
When
pimping
you arrive
ever.
at the apartment complex, what is the first word you hear?
What's the sound you love?
Yes. Yeah, interesting dude.
He is an interesting dude. He
Know
was.
your
R.I.P.
worth, Claudette.
There's a billboard that we pass when we're driving down to Orange County, and it's for a lawyer, but I think it's like a accident lawyer.
Sweet
And he
James.
looks,
Sweet James.
yes,
Oh, he totally looks like Daniel.
but it's not.
I think of Daniel every time I see that.
Isn't there
He
something?
looks like James Lipton. Is
isn't
what I
there
was gonna
something
say.
going on with Sweet James? Isn't Sweet
Yes.
James married to a Real Housewife?
Yes. Sweet
they're
James
having
is
some
married
sort
to
of-
a Real Housewife of OC, but they are recently separated and getting a
This
divorce.
is my version of Candace Cameron and Kirk Cameron being
not realize.
brother and sister.
Yeah.
Wait, but doesn't Sweet James look just like James Lipton?
I don't.
Oh, he
I
has
mean,
a James.
Yeah.
To me, it's a spitting image. I'm like, why is James Lipton on that billboard?
He has such a weird vibe too. It's like he's a lawyer, but he has this weird nickname, Sweet James, and their logo is like a baseball logo.
Yeah.
But the music for his jingle is like an 80s sound-alike songs.
You remember
I
going
didn't know he had
on?
a jingle.
Sweet James.
I didn't either.
Sweet James's Real Housewife wife did an interview and talked about their sex dungeon. They have like a
Yes.
basement sex dungeon.
Oh.
Of course,
This
he
is
has
all
one.
full circle because Robin's the one who told us that Stephen Sondheim had a sex dungeon.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
From what I've heard, R.I.P.
Which Real Housewife is it? Was it?
I don't watch the show, but maybe Jordan knows. It's a new,
Yeah,
it's a
this
new
is also
housewife.
this is my I saw a documentary on this because I have now told you all the information I have about this.
Well, I guess
wish
in
I
the
knew more.
first episode, which again I did not watch, but I have heard that she's like, oh, she did this sort of housewife trope of being like, oh my god, my marriage to Sweet James is incredible. We have sex.
Wait, she
all the
calls him
time."
Sweet James?
Sure, yes. My marriage to Sweet Jamie. Is
Daniel, do you
incredible.
want to be Sweet Quants?
I mean, I didn't know that was on the table.
Sweet Quants.
Sweet Quants.
I honestly thought Sweet James was a dispensary. It didn't. It's
Yeah,
very
it
confusing
does seem like that.
marketing.
Okay,
But,
I'm going to
yeah.
need a listener to please send in some kind of side-by-side of Sweet James and James Lipton so I can prove my point. You
And
can
Daniel.
email it to ariynbfshow@gmail.com or tweet it at ariynbf. Send it to me on Instagram. There's 1,000 ways to reach me.
Jeff, is the Sweet James jingle just Sweet Jane?
No, it's
Sweet James.
a parody of Somebody's Watching Me.
Oh,
That
Jesus.
song
I
from the
always
80s.
feel like
Oh, yeah.
somebody's watching me.
Yeah,
Okay, got
it's
no
a parody of that.
privacy.
Oh,
But what does that have to do with the law?
Maybe because
Oh.
he's like
Yeah, I
he
don't know.
takes care of his clients.
Oh, but that's got like a real stalker energy.
It does, yeah. I don't think Sweet James thought this out.
No.
that's
okay, guys.
Michael Jackson singing that chorus, by the way. I always feel like.
You saw that? Is that
His
what you said?
sister is Janet Jackson.
What? What? The next thing you're going to tell me is that Alec Baldwin and Stephen Baldwin are related.
It's true.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So on a recent episode, but I don't think either of you were on the episode, it came up this not Pig Latin, but this like alternate to Pig Latin that 7th, 8th grade girls sometimes spoke. My friend called it gibberish. In the Sweet Valley High or maybe Sweet Valley Twins books, I've heard it referred to as ithig. But like Robin Shorr would be with the gob of the ginch to the gore.
Oh, yeah.
Jordan Morris, to the gore to the gin, with the gore to the giss. Is this ringing a bell for anyone besides
Yeah,
Daniel and me?
Yes.
I have a vague
Okay.
memory of this. I didn't
Okay.
see a documentary about it.
So it came up on the show, and Wendy Molyneux, guest on that show, was like, if you don't stop this immediately, I'm logging off. She had no tolerance for it. But anyway, so there's a show for kids called Backyardigans.
Sure.
And our son Owen, who's the one who's almost 3, is obsessed with it. And obsessed. All like if he had a catchphrase, it would just be, I want Backyardigans. That's how he says it. Backyardigans. For a little while, it was Backyardigans, so just one extra syllable. But now it's very clearly Backyardigans.
I think that's because we stopped calling it Backyardigans because it's more fun to say it his way. And so we added a syllable, and then he added a syllable to that. It's just getting longer and longer.
but like in the middle of the night, he'll cry and you walk in and then like very calmly, he'll say, I want Backyardigans. So, Backyardigans is nonstop Backyardigans. So our babysitter today said, it kind of sounds like that language that the uncool kids in high school spoke, like the dorks spoke it.
Wow.
And I said, in my school, the cool kids spoke it.
Oh, no.
Same.
And then she
no.
said, she got this look of pity and like maybe she put her foot in her mouth and she went, oh, sorry. And I'm like,
You
oh, no.
thought you were cool.
I said,
Oh.
I said, hang on. I said, oh, no, it's fine. I wasn't like cool or anything. But secretly I was like, but I did speak this language. So I'm just curious. At your school, was this a cool kid thing or an uncool kid thing? Robin.
At my school, it was a very much a cool kid thing, and it was very much a thing I could not track. I couldn't get into it. I couldn't jump into it, and I think I tried, and it just wasn't for me. But it was definitely
I could
a cool.
teach you.
Yeah, but it was cool. Girls would be like, "Did a guy did you go to blah, blah, blah?" And I would be like, I don't. I'd be like, salad.
Yeah. So the Gallagher. That is what we did, Robin. Thank you. I mean, and let me just say for the record, I was not cool. I wanted so badly to be cool. There are cool kids. There are uncool kids who like seem to not care at all and we're just happy with their social standing. And I admire that. There's something really cool about that. I was just on the periphery of so much and I just desperately wanted to be cool. I remember I went Christmas shopping with my friend Brad, who I later had a crush on. Again, sorry, Daniel. And this girl, Charlene, who lived up the street, she lived up the street from me. So I gave her rides to school sometimes. And she was a cheerleader. And she came up and said hi. And we were talking. And then she left. And I was like, Brad's going to think I'm so cool because I know a cheerleader. And then Brad, and this was really like an epiphany moment for me. He was like, ugh, I can't stand people like that. And I thought, oh my God, I can't either. No offense, Charlene, if you're listening. It wasn't about you. It was about cheerleaders. You're lovely. I later ran into her at like Lollapalooza or something, and she's fine. She's lovely. Pune Basarpoo. Oh my God. I did go to school with Pune Basarpoo. And I found her recently on Facebook, and I wanted to send you a picture, Jeff. But anyway, what was my point? Oh, yeah, my point was just I spoke this dumb language. I wanted to be cool. I wasn't cool. Jordan, do you feel like this was a cool gal thing?
So I'm trying to think. My memory of this is that I learned about it in the like plot of a TV show. I want to say like Saved by the Bell or something. It was like a Saved by the Bell plot. In my high school, the cool kids like did a lot of plays. We were always rehearsing for plays. Doing monologues and improv and wearing our
Monty Python sketches.
Yeah, like memorizing Monty Python sketches, like writing them down. Like we would pause, we would tape it off Comedy Central, and we would pause it and then write down the entire Knights Who Say Knee scene.
That's so cool.
So that's what the cool kids did at my high school.
Yeah.
Jeff, at your high school?
I have no knowledge of this.
Oh. Okay. Maybe it didn't make it all the way to
Amish
Philadelphia.
country.
Yeah. Daniel, memory?
No, no one in my school spoke Dorklish.
Whoa.
That's Kenya Barrett's next show. Dorklish.
No, I don't have any. I at some point in my life I heard about it, but I don't remember anyone ever speaking it.
Stay tuned for an all-new Dorklish after Common Law.
Yes. Kenya Barrett's Dorklish.
I've never seen Blackish. What is it about?
It's about it's an upwardly mobile black family. They're black-ish. Get it?
No. I mean, kind of, yeah.
They're just like this glamorous family, and they have it's a family sitcom of like about rich black people.
It's
I
great,
think that
though.
should be
I love it. It's such a funny show.
People love it. I've only seen it a handful
great.
of times, but I have touched butts with Tracy Ellis Ross at the gym. So I've basically seen Blackish.
Wow.
How did that happen that you touched
We
butts
both
with her?
bent down at the same time and our butts touched. And
That's
for me, it was a
cute.
big deal, but I don't think for her, I don't think she cared very much.
All right, listen. After this discussion of high school, I feel like I need to process with someone. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. We talk about BetterHelp a lot on this show. And this month, we're discussing some of the stigmas around mental health. If you've listened to me for any amount of time, you know I'm a huge believer in therapy. It's helped me immensely. But some people think that you should wait until things are unbearable to go to therapy. That isn't true. Therapy is a tool to utilize before things get worse, and it can help you avoid those lows. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Give it a try and see why over 2 million people have used BetterHelp Online Therapy. And Allison Rosen listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/bestfriend. That's BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com/bestfriend. I think it is time to say hello and welcome to my new patrons. I already gave you guys the hard sell for Patreon at the beginning, but I'll just remind you that if you want to sign up for an annual subscription, you get 2 months free. So it's 12 months for the price of 10.
Allison wants to say thank you to a couple of special people out there who signed up to be new patrons. Patreon.com/AllisonRosen.
Oh my God, the dancing, you guys. Again, patreon.com is where you can see the dancing. I would like to say hello and welcome to Susan Gary. She signed up for an annual subscription. Hello, welcome to Alicia Thompson. Hello and welcome to Ulysses Atkins, who switched from monthly to annual. Horatio Villa. Hello and welcome. He is at a level where he gets his name on my website. I got to put that on there. Hello and welcome to Sarah Ellis. You're back. Mary Lynn White switched from monthly to annual, and Christina Duty switched from monthly to annual. Hello, welcome. I love all you guys. I hope you are enjoying your Patreon-ness. So Jordan,
Yes.
How was your Christmas? How was your New Year's? How have things been?
Both were chill. Yeah, boy, Allison, I've been doing nothing. I almost said no to coming onto the show because I've been doing so much nothing lately, and I feel like I have no anecdotes. I saw my family briefly for Christmas. We did a little lunch in Orange County, and I decided to kind of, skip New Year's Eve festivities for, health and wellness reasons. And I've just been playing a lot of Resident Evil 8.
Ooh,
do
is that
you
good?
want to hear about Resident Evil 8?
Sure.
Is that like in Paris or something?
There you go. Are those the most current video game sounds you have, Jeff?
Yes. All the kids are playing asteroids.
Wait, what did you ask about Paris, Daniel?
Well, isn't it? There's like a setting that's interesting about it. Isn't
It is set in Eastern Europe. It is set in kind of a vague, it's a scary horror game. It is set in kind of a spooky witch village.
Ooh.
And it kind of made its way into the general consciousness because it features one of the bad guys is a giant vampire lady, like a giant Victorian vampire lady. And when they revealed her, people wanted her to step on them and crush them.
Why?
Because that's
then liquid would come out of their genitals.
Yeah, to produce genital liquid. Yes,
Got it.
Because this was playing
hot?
into a very specific fetish category for giant women.
Is
The
she
look on Robin's face right now.
is she hot or is she just
Trying to
huge?
process it.
She's
both?
both. She is both big and hot.
Like how big are we talking?
Yeah, why is
in
that
the size
mutually
of the
How
game?
hot?
exclusive, Allison?
What?
Why is that mutually exclusive, Allison?
Well, I'm just trying to understand if the if the fetish appeal of her is just like, because the way Jordan made it sound is it like a ripple went through the giantess smush community or whatever this is called.
Right. Smushies.
Smushies.
And I'm just trying to understand why. I'm a curious person, Daniel. My mind is open. I don't have blinders on. I don't live in a little box like you, sweet Daniel.
Living in your sweet little bubble.
Yeah.
You and your billboards. Well, I have a question. Is the giant smushy fetish community so large that they're doing market research for these games and they're like, we got to get a giant lady in there because the fans love it?
Robin, it's a great question. Yes, yes. Are we putting the cart before the giant woman? I don't know if this is a case of the marketing company identified an underserved community, or the makers of the game just thought it would be cool to have a giant woman, and then they realized what they had done afterwards.
They got okay. I mean,
I think Daniel has put the giant lady into the chat.
Okay,
right,
so
Daniel?
now do I click on this and it'll open?
And Daniel, is this your personal fan art?
I mean, it is now.
Oh yeah, she's well. First of all, she's got Edward Scissorhands hand on one hand.
She's also Angelica Houston in the face.
I was gonna say Dita Von Teese, but
sure.
Yeah. So she's
she's hot.
So Jordan, is this actually scary? This game?
It is pretty scary. Yeah. It's like first person, so you have to like walk down a lot of dark hallways, and there's a scary doll bit that is very scary. And I don't know if there's a community that's into spooky dolls, but I was certainly not aroused during the spooky doll bit.
What do the dolls do that's so scary? I mean, a bunch of dolls is scary, but
they just sit there and look at you, and then sometimes they fall off the shelf. It's very mild. It's very it's very like it gets in your head.
I don't do. I've wanted to get into video games. It seems like a good thing to get into, as opposed to like my interests, which are Twitter and snacking. But I just
you can do
really...
all three of those things at the same time, Allison.
Wait,
you can incorporate video games.
But you have to have your hands on a joystick or a controller, don't you?
Yeah, that's true. But like just be quick,
Yeah,
it'll make you more dexterous.
I mean, the occasional game on my phone I can get into, but in general, I'm not like Daniel, where like when he gets a new game, he hasn't in a while. But Robin, are you into video games?
No, but you're making me think of something that I am into, and it's not giant ladies smushing people, or is it? But you mentioned that it was like a little bit scary, and yesterday I started watching a fantastic show that's also scary, which is very off-brand for me because I can't even watch TV at night because everything scares me. But there's this new show, I don't know if you've heard about it, on Showtime called Yellow Jackets.
Oh, I've heard Yellow Jackets.
I am so glad you brought this up because I was just reading about it today.
It's
everyone
so
is talking
good.
about it.
It's so good,
scary?
and there are definitely horror elements to it. And I back so far away from that stuff, but it's done in a way that like I can look away from it and not feel ruined for the rest of the episode. But it is there are some scares in it, but it's so worth it for like the 90s sort of Gen X like music, and it all takes place in 1996 and 2021.
Is it like violent or gory or creepy? Is it disturbing?
Yes, all of it. It's about cannibalism essentially. So
and you find that disturbing?
But I guess what I'm saying to your listeners is if I can handle it, then pretty much anybody can. But it's so well done.
You have no idea what a wuss Allison is.
But I'm thinking maybe Robin and I might be similar because what she's describing, that level of backing away from horror stuff, that is me. I hate anything scary. And I'm very, very, like when I learned about the plot, or even just not even the plot, just a few details of whatever happened to Baby Jane, which I've never seen.
It's not
when
that
I was
scary.
a teenager, I was like haunted for 6 months over it.
Right. Right. I'm perennially haunted by things that I've seen on screen that are scary. I look away from everything, but for some reason, like, this show is so compelling and so well done that I'm like, I gotta sit through the scares.
I could not do Handmaid's Tale.
I did first season with my eyes closed and then gave it up.
What are the
were you gonna say,
90s
Jordan?
needle drops that they put in there?
I mean, and what's funny is, like, if you know that music well enough, you're like, that was 2002. But
that would ruin it for me. That would totally ruin it for me.
Take me right out of it.
yeah, I mean, one of the big needle drops is from the "Oh Make Me Over," like the Courtney
Oh,
Love
yeah,
song,
sure.
and that was not it. That was in 2000 or something that
yeah.
album came out. But I can't even, like, Liz Phair. It's like, especially the pilot episode is just chock-a-block, wall-to-wall music you love. I promise.
Were you talking about Hole, like the whole song?
Celebrity
the whole
Skin.
song? Celebrity
What
Skin
was it?
came out.
I
Maybe it
think
came
that
out in
was late
99.
I'm not
No,
just
that
going to
was
play
the
part
90s.
of the song.
I think, sorry to be this person, but I think it was late 90s because
It
I
was.
remember specifically listening to it in 98, I think.
You might be right. I may not have been able to afford the CD until 2002, but there was one or two songs that I was like, was that 90s? But either way, it's essentially about women my age dealing with horrific things that happened to them in the 90s, which I can relate to.
Yeah, and it's got like Juliette Lewis, Christina Ricci, a couple others.
Melanie
and then,
Linsky, who's amazing.
And then
who's-
them as children too, right? So it's
and-
like the now and then thing.
Yeah, you see them as teens and then you see them as adults. And Juliette Lewis is amazing. Christina Ricci plays the fucking craziest character. And it's just fun to, like, watch them do it.
Does it... Okay, so when I watched the first episode of Westworld, a show I really like, I remember the first episode of Westworld and the first episode of Stranger Things, I was like a little creeped out to go to sleep that night. Is this going to do that to me?
I watched episode 3 last night. I was here by myself and I thought I would be scared and I actually got to sleep just fine. But I am really, like, high sensitivity to this stuff. Like, I can't, when a knife comes out on the screen, I will run out of the room. So truly. So the beginning of the show and the beginning of the pilot, you'll see where they're going with the creepy stuff. And I think it gives you a set and setting to understand it. Nothing comes crazy out of the blue.
Right.
Like these video
good to know.
games.
The thing in movies I can't handle now, and I have a pretty high tolerance for, like, gore and horror and, you know, zombie stuff and slasher stuff. But the thing that is freaking me out these days is when there's a close shot of someone driving a car, because I just think they're going to get T-boned. There's
Yeah.
been
Oh,
so many of
Oh,
those
yeah.
shots where it's like a
That's
close shot
so
of someone
true.
driving the car. Even if it's not a show where someone would get T-boned, I'm like, they're about to get T-boned. It's just going to happen, and then their life's
Yeah.
going to be ruined, and it could happen to me, and it might happen to my mom, and then I'll get a call. Like, it just, you know, every time I see that close shot of someone driving, I go down that hole.
I get that. I get that.
Jordan, is that your cat on your shirt?
No, so this is I am wearing a piece of Doughboys merch. Doughboys,
nice.
the chain restaurant podcast.
Oh, so that's Wally or Irma?
It's Wally and Irma. Mitch is one of the hosts of the
Cute.
Doughboys, and they have his cats on a shirt, and it's a delightful piece of podcast merch, and it's one of my favorite shirts.
Nice. I
It's
only
great
saw
shirt.
one of the cats, but now I see both. Yeah, that is a really good shirt.
I would like my cat to be on stuff. I do. I do like this shirt, but I am jealous when I put it on that these are his cats
Not
and
your
not my cats. My
How
cat.
does your cat?
singular.
How does Bug feel about it?
Oh, she's livid. She can't stand it when I wear this shirt. She just sleeps all day to punish me.
Jeff, how was your holiday season?
It was delightfully, largely uneventful. I just took it easy, kicked it. Just watched some TV, sat around, listened to the rain. There was a lot of nice rain here in Southern California.
Mm-hmm.
I did check out a new TV show. Maybe I'm late to the game and everybody's talked about it, but the Sex Lives of College Girls on HBO.
I've heard that's
People
so
love
good.
it.
I have not seen it.
It is so good. I mean, in spite of its title, I would really love, if anybody knows Mindy Kaling, please hit her up and say, so what was the name of this show before HBO had a meeting about it? Because such a kind of lascivious title, and the show is way better than that title leads you to believe. And it's so insanely funny. The scripts are wildly funny, and the dialogue is amazing, but also the kind of things that these girls deal with and the problems that they have in their sort of story arc are really incredible. It's really amazing writing, and the acting is great too.
I mean, now I have a couple shows to check out.
Yeah, I was howling laughing watching it.
I've been watching a couple shows that I enjoy, but I can't say they're good, and that is Emily in Paris and the Sex and the City reboot. Is anyone watching those?
I am watching And Just Like That, but not Emily in Paris. My mother is watching Emily in Paris and loves it.
I'm sad that I finished the second season, and again, I can't say it's like a good show or anything like that, but it feels like a young adult fiction or something. Like it's very that not a lot goes on at once. It's very simple, but it's kind of cartoony, but it's also like pleasurable to watch.
Yeah. Well, what else do you need?
Yeah.
Let's not make it so complicated.
How do you feel about I keep wanting to say And So It Goes, but it's And Just Like That, the Sex and the City reboot. How do you feel about that?
I have a lot of feelings about it. I do. I think that
why is it called that?
Because it's not sex. Because it's just not Sex in the City anymore. I don't know. And also Samantha's not in it. But Carrie always used
phrase.
Yes.
Yeah. In her column, it was a phrase like, and just like that.
And just
Big
like
and
that,
I went
and
to
just
Big's
like that.
house. Yeah. It was a phrase she used in her
It
column.
was a phrase, but I guess I feel like the first 3 episodes, the first 3 episodes were really wobbly to me. Mm-hmm. But then the most recent one where this is so sad. This is why it's not Sex in the City, Jordan. She has to get a hip surgery. So I thought that was the episode where it finally sort of found its footing without Samantha and everybody. But it just seems like all the women now have friends of color, and
they took that note.
They took that note, and I think it's great, but it's like I wish it had been there since the beginning. It just, it's sad what it took to get there for them to have friends that don't look like them.
Right. But it's very self-conscious about how not diverse it was, and how their uncomfortable attempts at being PC. Like it's very that's like a front and center aspect of it, which is sort of interesting.
Yeah.
It is.
It's cringy, but it's interesting.
Did I hear that she's a podcaster now? Is that like part of the plot?
Yes.
And that was actually like part of one of the lines that kept coming up in the recaps and all this stuff is this person, Sara Ramirez, plays the boss at the podcast that Carrie is on, and Bobby Lee is in there. Boss. Yeah, so she kept saying, that's exactly it, Jordan. She kept saying, like, don't do that in front of my podcast boss. Or she'd be like, Miranda, that's my podcast boss. Instead of just being like, oh, Miranda, that's my boss over at the podcast.
The host of the show that I'm on, yeah.
Yeah, there's just such a more conversational way to do it, but maybe they were like, this is what a 50-something-year-old woman, how she would... It was just so... It's just such a small note, but I want them to take it.
The whole thing. I feel like there was a while in pop culture where just like the word Uber was a punchline. You know,
sure.
Like, you know, people writing TV started using Uber about a year after everybody else, and then characters would just end on, "We got to get in an Uber," and you know, I don't know. Maybe is that where podcasting is now? Can you just say podcast, and it's kind of like. One of those.
I think so.
Yes.
It does kind of feel like it's written by an alien who's just introduced to our culture and is like, oh, these are the things people are thinking about. And, you know, some of the terminology, like, we just went to a comedy concert.
Yes.
Like, right. A comedy concert. Like, who the fuck
made
that?
Comedy concert, Daniel. I mean, you hit the nail on the head.
And they said it like 10 times in that episode.
They
kept calling it a comedy concert. And then
what even is that?
With all due respect to
Her
the writers,
podcast boss put on the concert.
Yes,
and then they went for a food meal.
Right.
Let's all have a food meal together at the food building.
The character, the podcast boss, has like a comedy concert, And my big problem, I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was a solid 5 minutes of just Sara Ramirez and them reacting to her.
And no jokes.
I thought,
No jokes.
and no jokes. And I thought, oh, they'll cut out of this at some point. Like, and I just couldn't believe how much time they really gave that a lot of time.
It's so
yes,
awful.
and yet it was like, and it wasn't really any real jokes, which was I guess that's what you get at a comedy concert as opposed to a comedy show.
Allison, to me, you'll always be the podcast boss.
Yes, it's my
way
podcast boss.
The way they show this podcast too, it's like, it's so cringy. I mean, it's not. It's like what a person who was just introduced to the idea of podcasts imagines podcasts might be like, you know. And there's like a real ball busting producer, you know, like oh no, the podcast producer is here. Like what?
Our ratings are in, and they're holding a sheet of paper.
Yeah, no, she's like, you got to get your socials up.
Yeah, get your socials up. Like that's a thing.
Your socials.
I finally feel seen. I feel represented.
Exactly.
Finally.
But Daniel, you're right. I mean, in the first day of the writer's room, they were probably just like, how do we bring Carrie Bradshaw into 2021?
Right.
And oh my God, you guys, Rome is playing again. I put Rome, the song, on before the podcast started, and I can't get it to stop.
Why would you want to?
I feel like
do you need another song?
Right.
No, it's such a good song. But I
feel like Carrie Bradshaw would have her own podcast.
Yes.
Like in the world of Sex and the City, she's big enough and savvy enough to have started her own as opposed to what they have, which is like she's on someone else's show kind of, and she doesn't really know how to do it. It's like, no, she'd be probably like right in the thick of it.
Yeah, she would be like the Mark Maron. Like she would be right. I don't know. She, to me, is so singular. And then I think the writers were like, we want her to interact with people that are younger since she's gotten older and maybe put her in the lower status position. But it doesn't totally work because she is an icon on the show. Like, you know, she had her face on buses in the original
like
show.
Sweet James.
Right.
Yeah.
She's Sweet James of New York.
She's hesitant to talk. So what is the name of the show? Like He, She, and Me or something?
It's like they. X. Isn't it like X, Y, and Z or something? I don't know.
So it's something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, she's hesitant to talk about graphic sexual stuff. And her podcast boss says to her, she has to, quote, step her pussy up. And then remember, before...
A note we've all gotten.
I know. And then, so I'm going to spoil something. I can spoil it, right?
Yeah.
I feel like it's been in the culture a lot. It's a big dies in the first episode. But before he dies, she tells him she has to step her pussy up.
Yeah.
And therefore
like
she wants to watch him masturbate. Like the last intimate moment they had was her watching him masturbate.
Yeah.
Which is not much has been made of that. Like that was her stepping her pussy up. I'm confused.
Here's the thing. I shut the show off. I shut off my TV at 2 points during the first episode. The first was when Miranda was in the college class asking the professor about her braids. I was just like, I can't. And I threw the remote control like across the couch and just like hid.
Yeah.
And then the second time was that. I just was like, why am I watching? We're
not even
this?
talking about the absolute weirdest thing in all of this, which is the fact that Miranda and her husband allow their son to have loud, raucous sex in their house.
She stepped her pussy up.
Like they're sitting in bed watching TV and they can hear her son banging his girlfriend, and then like they'll run into each other in the kitchen, you know, like post like, oh hey, how's it going? Like, who's doing this? This is crazy.
I think that they thought, and again, I don't know, but I think that they were like, first of all, we have to remember the last time we saw Miranda's son, he had just been born. So now you're asking the viewer to accept that he's just fucking someone crazily
Remember that, baby?
Remember that, baby? Here's what it sounds like now.
You ever wondered how that baby fucks?
I do think they're trying to sort of tease out the idea that Miranda and Steve, they aren't having sex.
His voice is a put on, right? No one talks like that.
Miranda. But I also...
Robin, what do you think Miranda and Steve want to have for lunch?
Miranda, they want a salad. Yeah. But they...
You didn't say it like that in the commercial, by the way.
Yeah, in my mind I did. But they aren't having sex, and they added this other layer of Steve not being able to hear, so much so to the fact that I Googled, does Dave Eigenberg have hearing loss? And he does not. They just wanted to color Miranda's world with the fact that she's not happy in her marriage. She's uninspired. And I think I don't know what her son having sex serves as some bizarre foil to her not having sex.
I think that makes sense. But yeah, both Daniel and I are like, we're never going to parent that way.
No, that's crazy. It's crazy.
It's very bizarre. It's a little bit like someone took all of the things in our culture, wrote them down on a piece of paper, and every episode they got to draw like 3 of them. Like Peloton, let's see, Peloton,
Bitcoin,
trans issues, and white fragility. Okay, that's episode 2.
Right.
Our big season finale is Tesla and TikTok ADHD memes.
Oh my God, Jordan. I asked my therapist if I might have ADHD because TikTok, she said no. And I suspected I didn't really, but ADHD talk, we've talked about this before. Like, you know, I've seen so many TikToks that are like, you know, do you... I hate standing in long lines. I don't like to finish my to-do list. Sometimes I get cold. Turns out it was my undiagnosed ADHD. Like, they're just such very standard things that I think everyone relates to. It's weird.
Yeah. They are.
It's strange. I have it. I was diagnosed as a kid and took Ritalin and you know, have something I have to, you know, cope with when I'm working and stuff like that. It's strange that it's being presented like that. Like, I mean, I think it's good if you don't know you have it. You know, you learn to deal with it, but like, I don't know. It seems to be that stuff kind of seems to be making it more of an identity than it should be. I don't know. I'm maybe not the guy to ask about this, but
no, I know it's I don't want to insult anyone by saying stuff like that, but I also feel, I don't know if you're reacting like it's a sensitive topic, because I do feel like it's a sensitive topic, because in the comments of these videos, someone will say like, that's, everyone has that, and then it's like you're minimizing my certain condition. Right. But at the same time, it does seem to be like there's just so much about it on TikTok. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, probably, but well, then again, though, it depends. The short answer is
let's
no,
move back to talking about race in Sex and the City.
Here's where it's going to get a little murky. I don't think so online. I mean, I think word counts were important in print magazine, but online there isn't that. Well, I mean, unless there's like ads being boy, I don't know. Maybe oh hell no. Wow. Bravo. I don't know where you got any of that, Jeff, because I never said any of that.
No, I just edited a bunch of different stuff together to make you sound like you were waffling.
I know. That's all. It was all a deep fake. You guys, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for joining me on the show. Listeners, if you've liked what you're hearing, even if you don't, please leave us a nice review on Apple Podcasts. Also, I didn't even know you can leave reviews on Spotify. If you're listening on Spotify, click that thing that says review, and then it'll just give you a set of 5 stars. I would recommend 5. That's my favorite number, but vote with your heart. It's very fast and easy. So I think now you can rate podcasts everywhere. So wherever you're listening, please rate this podcast. It helps the show. Leave us a review. Helps as well. Follow me on social media at Allison Rosen on Twitter and Instagram. And listen to my other shows as well, Childish and my new one, Upworthy Weekly. Robin, where might we find you?
Find me in my horrible commercial on Instagram at Robin Shorr, ROBINSHORR.
Wonderful. Jordan, what about you?
Yeah, I have a podcast. It is called Jordan Jesse Go. It is a chat show not unlike this one. Allison is a frequent guest. She drops by often, and we love when she does. And I co-wrote a graphic novel called Bubble. It's a sci-fi comedy, and you can get it wherever you get your books.
Wonderful.
I got my bumper dinged at the swat and gobble.
Daniel, Sweet Quants, what about you?
Yeah, you can find me at Sweet Quants at Twitter and Instagram.
You can find me on a billboard on the 405 freeway.
That's right. I know, Daniel Quants. And, just same old around here.
Great.
You do have your own sign along the freeway. I've seen it. What does it say?
That's
Old Town State Park. Next right. Next right. Old Town. They took that down, I heard. I feel like,
really? I saw it not too long ago, and I fall out laughing every time I see it. It just sneaks up on me, and I practically crash my car laughing.
Yes, every now and then someone would tweet a picture of it to me, which I love. But then someone informed me that it's gone now, so I don't know.
And Jeff, what about you?
You can find me on Twitter and Facebook at Colonel Jeff Fox. And if you're looking for an hilarious new podcast to listen to, check out The Bad Dates Show with Rob Cohen, where people just tell stories of their bad dates, and you will not believe the stories that people tell.
Is this Rob Cohen, the Simpsons writer?
Yes.
Oh, he's so funny. He's so funny.
I think today was his birthday because I saw people wishing him a happy birthday on Instagram.
It was his birthday.
Happy birthday, Rob.
He's a
Happy
good guy.
birthday, Rob. That was from
Is that
Steve.
David Eichenberg?
Yeah. I love you, Rob.
You can find subscription links at thebaddatesshow.com.
Wonderful. Thank you guys so much. Listeners, thank you for listening. I love you. You matter. Goodbye.
Hey, do you know about the Allison Rosen Show? We had a good time